A house is not made up of bricks and material, but it's a result of people's lifetime. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to deal with the topic A House for Mr. Vishwas by Sir V.S. Naipaul. This Caribbean prose writer has written many books including An Area of Darkness, and this work is supposed to be one of his finest work which was framed to him. The 20th century Caribbean writer is mostly known for his prose writing in English. This novel, A House for Mr. Vishwas, set forwards at the life of the protagonist and his longingness for the belonging and an independency and a house of his own. This novel, in the beginning we come to know the novel is divided into four parts. First, we have the prologue, and then we have the two major parts and the epilogue. In the prologue, we come to know about his death and the 10 weeks have already passed. In entire novel, our protagonist, Mr. Vishwas, moves from house to just to find a house of its own. As in the beginning, we come to know that his birth was supposed to be a superstitious bad omen, and it is said that he was born with a sixth finger. But later on, we come to know that his six fingers falls off on the ninth day, and it is even considered by his mother that a bad omen has passed. But that doesn't work. Superstition doesn't work in our society. Same like in the novel. After the ninth day, when his finger is gone, we come to know like many events are going on, and how one day he goes on for the gazing of a calf, which was his only duty assigned to him. By gazing the water, which he was predicted by the pandits and by the saint of the village, it was said that he was considered a bad omen. So if he goes to the water, it is even that he can lose his life. So he has never seen a lake or a pond in his life. So the moment he goes near the lake, he comes to know about the fishes and the beauty of the water and the beauty of the nature. So he's just like gazing into the water and he finds a fish over there. So he's so lost in seeing the fish and the beauty that he forgets about the calf, and the calf just vanishes. And he's so much scared that he goes back to his house and he hides under the bed. By the sunset, entire village is set forward to search for him, like where is he gone, and how are we going to find him, where is he actually, is he alive? And the people say the last time he was seen near the near the lake. So people think maybe he has drowned. So his father courageously he dives into the lake, and at the end, first he finds the body of the calf, and later on he loses his life, which is the starting of the novel, and how the tragedy is just going to follow our protagonist through and through. This journey begins from his house to the house of Arvacus, then he goes house to the house of the Pandit, and then he goes back to the not back, he went in, then he goes back to not in sorry, he doesn't goes back to the house. Next we find him, he goes to the house of Bandit, who he is supposed to help him in his liquor business. And then from there, to find his independency, he leaves the house and he goes on to be a signboard painter. That's how he reaches to his main event, which is the Hanuman house, where his unhappy married life is going to start from. The event set forward by he gives a letter to his upcoming wife, and the letter it was just in casual proposal kind of things, but the casual proposal is taken to a different level, and Mrs. Tulsi, who is supposed to be the head of the Hanuman house, sets forward a meeting, and the meeting turns out to be not a casual meeting, but upcoming event of his marriage, and he later on is married to Sama at an early age, and his struggle starts. There he's he seems like all the sister of Sama, they have married some of the other people, and they all stay in the same house, in the compact house. And the novel goes on, he files suffocation, and from there he goes to the plantation where he finds a cabin, and from where he actually develops the habit of the reading. Over there he has a pet dog, and from there we see he moves to the next stage of he buys a house of his own, but that house doesn't turn out to be a actual house, which later on falls on a storm, so he loses whatever he has. Then he comes back to the Hanuman house. From there, then he again goes back. He's sent from there. From in the Hanuman's house, he stayed there for some time. Then due to quarrels and all, he again set free, and then he leaves everything and he goes to the port of Spain, where he becomes an editor, and he works. He started to work in some company. I'm not able to recall the name of the company. And from there, he becomes quite of independent. And later on, we come to know about this scholastic. Uh, what do you call? It's like his son Anand, who prevails in his studies, and he sees the quality of himself in the Anand, the one which he did not have in his childhood. But all the facilities and the guidance brings Anand to a point where he achieves a scholarship and he leaves the country for his upright. Even we are said by some of the critics have pointed out that the child of Mr. Vishwas, that is Anand, is actually our writer V.S. Naipaul, and somehow Mr. Vishwas is considered as a fatherly figure of Sir V.S. Naipaul. So the next event that goes on is like he earns money and somehow he manages to take loan and buy a house of its own. But before coming end towards the end of the novel, we come to know like he's suffering from the disease, and many a times his health is not carrying on with him, and by the end of the novel he dies. And his daughter comes back and she looks after, and later on she joins the senator and start working as an editor over there. But his life ends, and we can say that he had a house, he somehow achieved a dream of his own. But was it like that? Did he actually achieve the dream of his life? Did he has a house of its own? Because it is said that when he bought the house on the street, which was not in a proper condition, but somehow he managed to live over there. He took the loan from the Arvakas to pay for the house, and later on the amount which he took was not paid by him, and he dies. But it is even said that he passed on a house from him to his upcoming generation, which later on proves to be a great benefit for them, and they have a shelter for themselves, which he never had of his own throughout his life. This is just a condition like us, we find it really hard in our life. Like throughout our life, what do we want to have? A better health, a house, a security, and a family. But if you don't have a house, you really can have a security, a family, and a future? I don't think so. So our protagonist over here, he's just throughout the novel he goes through stages and stages. His pain, his suffering keeps on going and going. How he has problem with his wife, his own children, his forced children are never in favor of him. But at the end we find at least he has a daughter who comes back for him to support him in his last time. Even though like whatever dues remain unpaid, we see that he died in a kind of peace. I cannot say that he died peacefully because the due still remains. So this is how our novel, The House of Mr. Vishwas, brings out a beautiful story of a post-colonial Trinidad, and how over there we see a Indian by in the event when there is a house and house in Hanuman house, how Mrs. Tulsi and everybody tries to arrange the sequence and the events like it happens in India with the Hindus, and somehow we see how the modernity actually hits them, and they are even they're going through the phases of change, how they are adapting by the modernity of and the changes, and how we see the industrialization and living and setting the free of the island brings the changes in the life of the people. See, explaining the full novel in a video is impossible, and this great works brought a tremendous amounts of happiness and peace to my heart when I read it. I will recommend you to please go through it, read the novel. This beautiful novel over here is what our great novel Sir V.S. Naipaul has brought into words. Please read this novel. And our next video is going to be on my favorite, Sir Ruskin Bond. So get ready. Thank you. Please do like and subscribe.